They didn't want him to be a prince or a princess, not knowing what the gender would be, which would be different from protocol, and that he wasn't going to receive security.
What started as what appeared to be a genuinely touching gesture, a wedding anniversary tribute posted by Meghan on her personal Instagram account, quickly became the spark that set off one of the most explosive royal confrontations in recent memory. A single careless moment aboard a British Airways flight, the accidental dropping of a confidential document file, pulled Meghan directly into a fierce and very public collision with one of the most formidable figures in the entire royal establishment, Princess Anne. But what made this scandal truly dangerous was not simply the whispers of infidelity that spread across social media at extraordinary speed. At the heart of this story were far darker allegations: espionage, political manipulation, a calculated scheme to infiltrate the palace itself and harvest its most guarded secrets for personal financial gain. Princess Anne's fury was volcanic. Prince Harry's suspicions were growing by the hour. And the combined pressure of both threatened to push the Sussex marriage, and what little remained of their relationship with the British royal family, completely and irreversibly over the edge. Would Harry find the evidence of his wife's betrayal hiding in plain sight? What move would Princess Anne make to determine Meghan's fate and permanently strip her of everything she had fought to hold on to? On the 18th of May, 2026, Meghan arrived alone at Heathrow Airport to board British Airways flight BA 269. She had just completed a demanding international schedule, including a high-profile address at the World Health Organization in Geneva. The transatlantic journey, carrying her back to Los Angeles, was spent in the quiet comfort of the first-class cabin, far from the noise and scrutiny she had grown so accustomed to managing. The day after landing, Meghan posted an image to her personal Instagram account. It showed a handwritten card from the crew of Flight BA 269, wishing her a happy wedding anniversary. On its surface, the gesture was warm, elegant, and entirely on-brand. Thoughtful, gracious. The kind of moment designed to reinforce a carefully constructed public image as a woman beloved and admired by everyone she encountered. It did not hold together for long. Shortly after the image circulated widely, a storm erupted from a corner nobody had anticipated. Inside, a private online group used exclusively by British cabin crew, an anonymous account claiming to have personally worked the first-class cabin on that exact flight, stepped forward. And what this individual alleged shattered the peaceful image Meghan had so carefully posted. According to the detailed account, the composed and sophisticated atmosphere of the VIP cabin had been abruptly disrupted by an unexpected incident mid-flight. While moving through the cabin, Meghan had allegedly dropped a confidential file she had been carrying. The documents scattered across the aircraft floor. And what those documents contained, according to the account, was what ignited everything: photographs. Images of Meghan, alongside an unidentified British man, captured in what were described as deeply compromising circumstances. The leak from the private group spread at lightning speed across every major social media platform. The reaction was immediate and merciless. Online communities united almost instantly around one conclusion: Meghan had been secretly conducting an affair in Britain, behind Prince Harry's back, while publicly performing the role of devoted wife. The fury directed at her was relentless. But the scandal did not confine itself to Meghan alone. It dragged the British royal family into the center of the firestorm with her. Commentators began raising pointed and serious accusations, suggesting that some hidden force within the palace must have been actively covering for Meghan during her London visit, facilitating secret meetings and shielding her movements from scrutiny. The carefully constructed public image she had spent years building collapsed almost overnight, replaced by a crisis of a scale that neither she nor the institution around her could easily contain. How would the British royal family, and most critically Princess Anne, respond to accusations that the palace itself had been complicit in covering for Meghan? And what would Harry do when his family delivered him an ultimatum he could not ignore? When Princess Anne received the news about the dropped file and the allegations swirling around her nephew's wife, Her reaction was not measured or diplomatic, it was furious. Her anger came from two directions simultaneously. The first was what she saw as the profound damage being inflicted on the palace's reputation by a woman who had never been fully trusted within royal circles. The second was the deeply offensive suggestion circulating publicly that the royal family had somehow been complicit in facilitating or concealing Meghan's alleged behavior. Princess Anne moved without hesitation. She stepped forward publicly and issued a statement that was precise, cold, and devastatingly clear in its intent. The royal family has absolutely no involvement in, and possesses no knowledge whatsoever, any events alleged to have occurred aboard the flight or any personal meetings undertaken by the Duchess of Sussex during her time in London. These matters are entirely private and personal to Meghan Markle. She alone must bear full responsibility for addressing and confronting these allegations before the public. Under no circumstances may she invoke or rely upon the reputation of the royal family in doing so. The moment the public statement was released, Princess Anne turned her attention inward. She drafted and sent an urgent private email directly to Prince Harry. Its tone left no room for ambiguity or softness. Harry, I require you to immediately examine everything that is taking place around your wife and the photographs connected to the recent flight. The royal family strictly forbids you and your wife from dragging this family and the monarchy into this chaotic and humiliating scandal in any form whatsoever. You are obligated to clarify the situation and resolve all matters involving her as quickly as possible. When Harry read his aunt's message, the shock was immediate and visceral. He went directly to Meghan with its contents, and what followed was the most explosive argument their marriage had ever produced inside the walls of their home. Harry demanded an explanation. He wanted to know who the unidentified man was. He wanted to understand what those photographs meant, and he wanted the truth. Meghan denied everything with fierce and absolute conviction. Have you completely lost your mind? You are actually standing there believing this nonsense? The photographs, the file, the story from some flight attendant you have never met, it is all fabricated. Every word of it. This is a deliberate setup designed to destroy my reputation, and I will not stand here and be interrogated over lies. Her aggression did not settle anything. If anything, it deepened the fracture between them, pushing their marriage toward a breaking point that was becoming harder and harder to step back from. Sensing that the public pressure was not going away on its own, Meghan made a decision that raised the stakes considerably higher. She published a lengthy statement directly to her social media followers, addressing the allegations head-on and doing something nobody had fully expected. She accused the royal family. All of the information currently being spread about me across forums and private groups is nothing more than deliberate slander. Even more disgracefully, we have every reason to suspect that the British royal family itself has fabricated this entire media narrative, exploiting my name to manufacture scandal and distract the public from their own very serious internal problems. Princess Anne read those words, and the fury that had been carefully controlled behind closed doors became something far less contained. To accuse the palace of orchestrating a smear campaign against Meghan was, in Anne's view, not simply dishonest. It was an act of breathtaking arrogance. But as incensed as she was, the Princess Royal also understood the position the accusation had put them in. Neither she nor anyone else within the palace possessed concrete evidence at that moment about the precise nature of those photographs or what Meghan's true intentions had been. To launch a full and public counterattack without that evidence risked embarrassing the institution in ways that could not easily be undone. So Princess Anne contacted Harry again, privately. Applying considerable pressure, she urged him to stop waiting for Meghan to volunteer the truth and instead conduct a quiet, thorough, and methodical investigation into what was actually happening around his wife. She needed evidence, real evidence, the kind that could not be denied or explained away. How would Harry manage to access Meghan's private office without her knowledge? And what devastating secret was waiting for him inside a locked cabinet? The days that followed were among the most agonizing Harry had experienced since the family had begun to fracture publicly years earlier. Meghan's absolute denials sat alongside Princess Anne's mounting pressure and refused to produce anything resembling clarity or peace. His suspicions toward his wife were deepening with every passing hour. He could feel the truth somewhere just beyond his reach, and the not knowing was its own particular form of torment. He began watching Meghan more carefully. Her movements, her expressions, the moments when her composure flickered almost imperceptibly. And then his opportunity arrived. Meghan had a scheduled external engagement that required her to leave the estate entirely. The moment her car disappeared through the gate, Harry moved. He went directly to Meghan's private office, a space she had made absolutely clear was off-limits to everyone without her explicit permission. He went through drawers, through stacks of documents, through filing systems arranged with meticulous care. And then, concealed in a locked cabinet, hidden in a way that suggested deliberate and careful concealment, he found them, a collection of photographs. And the moment he pulled them into the light, the breath left his body. There was Meghan, smiling widely, beside the man, exactly as the rumors had described. When Meghan returned home, Harry was waiting. He placed the photographs on the table between them and said nothing. He did not need to. Meghan saw them, and for the briefest moment her composure cracked. Then it reassembled itself, almost instantly, into something controlled and sharp. "Harry, why are you going through my personal belongings without my permission? Those photographs mean absolutely nothing. He is an old friend from years ago. We ran into each other in London entirely by coincidence and took a few photographs together. That is all this is. Stop allowing jealousy to turn something completely innocent into something it is not." He looked at her face as she spoke, and he could feel the deception behind every word. But he also understood that pushing harder in that moment would produce nothing further. He needed a different approach entirely. Quietly, carefully, Harry went looking for someone else. Meghan's closest personal assistant. The person who had accompanied her on the London trip and who would have been present for everything that actually happened. At first, the assistant was visibly frightened, deflecting and retreating from every question with obvious desperation. But Harry persisted, and eventually, under the weight of his authority and the intensity of his sustained pressure, the assistant broke. "Your Highness, please forgive me. I was following the Duchess's instructions, and I was terrified of what would happen if I spoke. But the truth is that on that day in London, I drove her personally to meet that man. I was there. I watched them together. The level of closeness between them, the physical intimacy, the way they were with each other in private. It was not the behavior of old friends who happened to meet by chance. I did not know the full details of what they were planning, but I know what I witnessed." And then the assistant offered something further, something that changed the entire nature of what Harry was looking at. The man in those photographs was not a casual acquaintance or a harmless figure from Meghan's past. He was a billionaire, a man of enormous and far-reaching influence embedded deeply within London's financial and political establishment. The assistant provided his private residential address, located in one of the most exclusive and expensive parts of the capital. Harry sat with what he had just been told and felt the ground shift beneath him. This was no longer a story about jealousy or a personal indiscretion. This had become something entirely different and considerably more serious. He compiled everything: the photographs, the assistant's full testimony, the billionaire's identity and residential details, and he forwarded all of it in a single urgent message directly to Princess Anne, requesting that the royal family's intelligence and security resources be deployed to investigate the full extent of whatever relationship existed between Meghan and this individual. What dark and dangerous political scheme would Princess Anne uncover behind that relationship? And how would the palace's emergency meeting determine Meghan's fate once and for all? Working through confidential intelligence sources, the royal family's investigators moved quickly. The full identity of the man in Meghan's photographs was formally established within days. And what the investigation uncovered did not simply confirm the personal nature of the relationship, it exposed something that left the senior members of the royal family in a state of cold and sustained disbelief. What Meghan had allegedly been engaged in went far beyond any private romantic arrangement. The investigation revealed what was described internally as a carefully structured political and commercial strategy. According to the evidence gathered, Meghan had been working to leverage the billionaire's media influence and financial resources as a platform to elevate her own profile and push her way deeper into elite political circles on both sides of the Atlantic. In return for this support, she had allegedly entered into a secret and deeply troubling arrangement with the tycoon. She had requested that he use his extensive network of contacts throughout Britain to place trusted associates inside the palace walls. These individuals would act as an intelligence-gathering operation, listening, observing, and systematically extracting confidential internal information about the royal family, information that had never been made public and that the institution went to considerable lengths to protect. Everything gathered from behind those walls would allegedly be transmitted back to Montecito and used as exclusive source material for books, documentaries, and commercial media content designed to generate sustained long-term profit while continuously expanding Meghan's public profile and influence. When Princess Anne absorbed the full scope of what the investigation had produced, the fury she had felt at the beginning of the scandal was replaced by something colder and more deliberate. She concluded without hesitation that what had been uncovered represented a direct and active threat to the security and the fundamental honor of the monarchy. She convened an emergency meeting at the palace with the most senior members of the royal family. The atmosphere in that room was described by those present as tense, grave, and entirely without warmth. Princess Anne stood before the assembled family and addressed them in a voice that carried the full weight of her conviction. The evidence currently in our possession demonstrates with absolute clarity that Meghan Markle has done considerably more than damage this family's reputation through the press. She has actively collaborated with powerful external interests to place intelligence gatherers inside the palace. This is an organized and deliberate operation designed to extract confidential information for future commercial exploitation. We cannot and will not tolerate an individual holding a royal title while conducting themselves as a traitor to this institution. I therefore propose that this council act together and pursue the strongest course of action available to us. All royal titles held by Meghan Markle must be formally revoked as a matter of urgency. Every remaining association between her and the royal family must be permanently severed. This threat must be removed at its source. The proposal received unanimous support. Not a single voice within that room argued for leniency or offered any defense of Meghan's alleged conduct. The conclusion reached by the Emergency Council was swift and absolute. Under Princess Anne's direct leadership, the British royal family would immediately begin the legal procedures required to issue an official decree permanently stripping Meghan of all remaining royal titles, expelling her from any association with the institution before any further internal information could allegedly be used against it. How would Princess Anne's formal public announcement push Meghan into a position she could not escape? And what level of humiliation would Harry be forced to endure as the world watched everything unfold? The moment the emergency meeting reached its conclusion, Princess Anne moved with the kind of decisive and deliberate speed that has always defined her approach to crisis. She would not give Meghan any further window to manage the narrative, shift the conversation, or buy time through the media. Acting formally on behalf of the monarchy, Princess Anne stepped before the international press and delivered the official royal statement personally. Her demeanor was completely controlled. Her voice was steady, and every word she spoke landed with the precise weight she intended. Following a thorough review of verified and confidential evidence relating to serious violations of royal standards and protocols, the British royal family hereby formally declares that effective immediately, All royal titles held by Meghan Markle, including the title of Duchess of Sussex, are officially revoked and permanently withdrawn. Meghan Markle shall no longer possess any status, authority, or capacity to represent the British royal family in any form whatsoever. This decision has been made for the sole purpose of protecting the dignity, internal security, and fundamental honor of the monarchy from schemes motivated by personal gain. The statement hit the Montecito estate with the force of something final and irreversible. Harry was consumed simultaneously by humiliation and by a rage directed squarely at his wife. The shame of watching his own family publicly administer this level of consequence to the woman he had chosen above everything else merged with the devastation of understanding that he himself had allegedly been deceived and manipulated, used as a tool in a scheme he had known absolutely nothing about. He could barely bring himself to face anyone. The full force of his anger broke over Meghan in a confrontation that effectively ended whatever had remained between them. Their marriage did not survive it. Pushed into the most isolated corner she had ever occupied, stripped of the royal prestige that had given her global standing and platform, Meghan still refused to concede. Through media outlets and her own social channels, she continued to issue statements, repeating with increasing desperation that the royal family had manufactured the entire story from beginning to end as a deliberate campaign to destroy her. The language she used was grand and forceful. But for the first time, it landed without traction. She had no evidence to offer, no documents to produce, no coherent explanation for the photographs Harry had found or the testimony her own personal assistant had provided. The palace's case against her was not a collection of rumors. It was a documented record, and against that record, her denials carried no weight at all. The shift in public opinion was sharp and it was swift. People who had spent years defending Meghan, who had believed her accounts of mistreatment and rallied around her public narrative with genuine loyalty, felt the ground move beneath them. The sense of betrayal in online communities was palpable. Former supporters turned in large numbers, and the criticism that followed was some of the harshest and most sustained she had ever faced. Across every major platform, the public conversation moved away from sympathy and towards something closer to condemnation. The anniversary card from Flight BA 269 that had started all of this, posted with such deliberate warmth and carefully staged grace, now felt like the opening frame of an entirely different story. A story that had ended not in admiration or connection, but in the most complete and public collapse of everything Meghan had built around herself. The carefully maintained performance was over, and in its place was a reckoning that no amount of media management could undo. How do you feel about the scheme that was allegedly uncovered, and about Princess Anne's response to it? What does this story say about the real price of loyalty and the consequences of deception? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want the royal stories that matter told without filters, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next.